day experiential level with clients that we work with. I'll talk to you in particular about two of the main platforms that Microsoft has, the Office 365 Productivity Suite, as well as their infrastructure and platform services solution, which is Microsoft's Azure Cloud Platform. As well, I'll talk to you a little bit about how we solve some of the challenges around making sure that you have enterprise-grade connectivity to those secure workloads that you need to access, and a little bit about some suggestions about how you might get started and some of the things that can help you along the way for your journey to cloud. There are also some special offers that we have that we'd love to share with you today that are in addition to the benefits that TechSoup is fortunate enough to be able to provide to you. And then, as Joyce mentioned at the end, we'll have a little bit of time, hopefully, to address any questions that you may have. And certainly our team would be delighted to engage with you and support any questions you may have after the fact as well, pursuant to the webinar. So please feel free to engage with us, not only during the session today, Q&A period, but also on an ongoing basis. We'd love to help. One of the things that we see very clearly with many of our customers, whatever segment of the industry they're in, whether they're nonprofit, government, or general business organizations, is the same challenges about finding ways to optimize operations, having a need to transform services, whether that's to end subscribers, partner organizations, donors, citizens, or other constituents that might be needing to interact with you and your organization, and then also in particular to help empower your employees and engage with clients. These are common themes that we see every day. Life is getting more and more complex, and technology in essence is very complex as well, with lots of choices and tools available to you. And it's really the opportunity to take digital transformation and help solve meaningful business problems, and also to find ways to help your employees, your partners interact with you in a different way that allows them to have productivity gains and change the paradigm of cost and time to market on many things that you may be needing to get done in your organization. And some of the things that customers ask us a lot is, why should I be thinking about cloud? And no matter where you are on your cloud journey, these things are very important because as a nonprofit, your funding is precious and needs to be deployed as effectively as it can be. It's important to look for opportunities where you really are only paying for what you consume or use. And the cloud offers you a new paradigm of being able to do that. It also allows you to tap into services on demand versus having long implementation cycles for certain types of projects and initiatives. Lots of things within the cloud infrastructure are pre-built and really just need deployment activity versus development activity. And that allows you to be able to take advantage of things, even on a short-term basis, that are then delivering value to your organization and to the projects and initiatives that you have. The other thing that we see quite often is it allows you to have better cost management and return on investment as well. IT typically, on a historical basis, has looked at long horizons and complex TCO analyses and things like that when we had to consider hardware, software, labor, implementation, consulting services, external service providers like telecom partners and things like that to create a full cost view. Now many of these things are brought down to a microservices level, and therefore we're able to consume them at a better cost profile, and not only that, faster time to market, as I mentioned. We also like the opportunity with cloud and the benefits of being able to work from anywhere on any device at any time that suits you. This is important when we're engaging with clients and other stakeholders in our businesses. The other thing that we see a lot is the opportunity for absolute best-in-class technology, and this in particular, in my view, pertains to things like security services available to enterprises that are perhaps of the smaller size. So being able to tap into the absolute best available solution without having to deal with that very large investment profile that it might take to take advantage of those historically. Disaster recovery also comes built in with many cloud services, which means that where we used to have to think about solutions in high availability or redundant fashions, when we start to take advantage of cloud services, we don't have to worry about that anymore. And that also parlays into not worrying about capacity or system availability the way that we had to think about it historically. So that really drives simplicity, it really drives cost effectiveness, and it really allows us to accelerate adoption of certain types of services perhaps faster than we have in the past. Other benefits include always having the latest and greatest features and services available at your fingertips. This is very true of both the productivity suite solutions and the cloud platform solutions from Microsoft. There is constantly a set of new services and features and applications available to you without you having to go to the level of having to figure out long-term upgrade budgets and complex licensing solutions. And then, of course, you have a very broad set of tools to choose from to power your business. And that set of tools is getting broader every single day, which is exciting and fantastic for IT organizations and end users as well. Three key areas that we often get asked about are, how do I lower operational costs? This is something that we're constantly trying to do in IT, is to optimize where we're spending our money and ensuring that we're getting value from that. The other topic, and I'm sure many of you hear lots of things about big data and data insights and analytics tools and things like that. Being able to take information that we have and be able to render it and access it in a way that helps us draw useful and meaningful insights is very, very critical for a lot of our organizations. And the cloud allows us to do that in an extremely simplistic and highly accessible and achievable way. And then, of course, we want to, as IT teams or service providers to constituents and stakeholders, make sure that we're able to enhance the service delivery that we provide. And all three of these pillars are really addressed by accessing cloud technology. As well, there's a rapid pace of change, and we've seen this historically with the move to mobility and smartphones. We've seen the pace of change and innovation accelerate. We've also seen, as part of that, as the internet has been proliferating and applications and services and things like that growing as well, security and privacy implications to that. So we want to collaborate, we want to engage, we want to share, but many times we need to make sure, especially here in Canada, that we're doing it in a way that provides security and privacy where it needs to be. If we're in a nonprofit organization or a governmental organization, for instance, as well, depending on your industry area, regulatory requirements may also be important. If you're accepting donations, PCI compliance, of course, is critical as well. So making sure that we are accessing solutions and services that address all of those requirements for enabling new ways of working, enabling innovation, enabling transformation, but also really addressing all of the fundamentals that we need to ensure that we're being successful on all levels. Microsoft has made absolutely huge investments in these areas, and certainly being able to create services that are highly integrated is really exciting. And once you get started, if you haven't yet begun your journey to cloud with Microsoft, you will start to see the possibilities that are opened up that are literally endless in the ways that you can take some of the basic solutions and services and really start to grow that value and the extensibility of it to how you interact with your business partners, your work colleagues, how you take technology and services that you have and help those things be extendable as well. And then, of course, I would say this absolutely, Microsoft is leading the charge in trustworthiness. They've led the charge in driving data sovereignty here in Canada. We were the first major cloud provider to open their enterprise cloud services here in Toronto and in Quebec City. The security and privacy investments and commitment that they've made to Canada in particular has been world-leading. And our experience has certainly been that they are aggressive and innovative and leading the charge in the market for securing those services and platforms as well, which I know is very important to all of us. A couple of other reasons why you might want to consider the Microsoft Cloud suite of services. First of all, there's a lot of application and innovation. There's definitely a lot of applications and services that are there at your fingertips for data and intelligence. And one of the things they've done particularly well is set up their solutions in a way that is readily consumable and easy to adopt versus having to be a sophisticated cloud engineer to do some of this work or start to try out and learn these services. So between Office 365, Azure, and the Dynamics platforms, as well as Windows 10 being a consumable cloud offering as well now, the work that Microsoft has done on usability to help adoption is very, very substantial. I would also say that the flexibility and openness, and I talked a little bit a few minutes ago about trust and security being an absolute tenet for them as well. There's 38 regions around the world today, so those investments that they're making on a global scale with support and doing security and scalability and automation around the world really drives that ability to offer highly cost-optimized infrastructure and services, best of breed, absolutely. And with the number of subscribers and IT organizations and enterprises that are consuming the services, they're able to continue to invest, innovate, drive value, and solve the most important and critical business problems for organizations today. And a few other things that when we're working with customers really drive home the value is that, again, they've made those investments here in Canada to ensure that data that needs to reside in Canada will stay in Canada. They've made substantial investments, early investments, and continuing and ongoing investments in Toronto and Quebec region. And there's no reason to doubt that those investments will continue to be very, very substantial on an ongoing basis. They've innovated in highly secure infrastructure, and the management and monitoring tools that are available within Microsoft's cloud platforms are absolutely leading edge, because when we go to cloud, one of the things we want to make sure we're doing is all the best practices around service management, and key performance indicators and monitoring and management is a big part of that. And of course, the same infrastructure that would be running your virtual machines or storage or disaster recovery services or any of the other things you might consume out of Azure is actually the same infrastructure that runs Office 365 and Dynamics Online. So that allows them to create synergies, and as I mentioned earlier, integration as well, to reduce the level of work and effort that you need to undertake to do things like single sign-on and service federation and other aspects of identity and integration management that are going to be ever more important to you as you consume more and more services, whether they're within Microsoft or within partner organizations. And certainly there is a lot of agility and flexibility here so that you can simply take advantage of the things that are most important to you and allow you to focus on those key business imperatives that are critical for your particular organization. A little bit about AirGate. You know, we've been participating in this cloud journey for a while. Our philosophy is to start with understanding clients' infrastructure and then helping them build the right foundations, the right approaches, and the right solutions within the cloud that address their specific needs. We place a lot of focus on best practices. We're one of the premier partners here for Microsoft in Canada at a gold certification level, and we have a very deep bench of technical folks and lots of experience to help you along the way. And our customers would be very delighted to share their insights as well with you along the way as you start to consider what you might be doing. And our mission really is to help simplify any of the complexity around putting these building blocks together for your particular needs. So we help customers typically with the strategy, design, and architecture that they need to undertake for their cloud journey. We help work with deploying and migrating those solutions to the cloud. And then we help solve the challenges around how do you make sure you're operating efficiently and effectively and with the right best practices in mind once you have some of your services in the cloud. Really with the ultimate goal of making sure that clients are successful with their cloud journey and that you really do get to take advantage of all the benefits and fulfill those promises of what cloud can deliver. And that's why we often call it the easy button for cloud solutions. Talking a little bit about the Office 365 suite, if you haven't yet had the opportunity to try it out, or if you're not on it today, a little bit about some of the things that you can take advantage of that offer some substantial benefits to you. Likely many of you are already using Microsoft Office of one level or another, but certainly there's a lot of benefits with taking advantage of the full suite provided to you through the cloud service. That includes a real focus on continuing to innovate and add services that deliver value for collaboration and communication simplicity, and offering lots of choice around how employees and partner organizations might communicate amongst one another. Mobility is key, being able to work and access services at any time, anywhere, and being able to do what you need to do on whatever device you may be needing to do it on. As well, making sure that the data and information that you're sharing is safeguarded with things like multi-factor authentication and advanced predictive security, analytics, compliance aspects as well are a really big part of what Microsoft provides in the Office 365 suite. Some of the things you can do is, a lot of focus on sharing documents, collaborative meetings with Skype for Business, including sharing voice and video and instant messaging and all of those sorts of things, as well as some new features coming into the Microsoft Teams environment. And if that's not something you've had a chance to look at yet, do reach out, and we'd love to share a little bit more about how Microsoft Teams can have a really exciting impact on the collaboration and team effectiveness that you've got, as well as the Power BI solution, which gives you a lot of insights and the ability to quickly integrate and manipulate and present data in a way that's meaningful to your business from almost any type of source. As well, those familiar applications like the Office suite of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, those are all there, but there's also lots and lots of new features and applications. If you're a smaller organization, you may want to take advantage of some of the lightweight tools that are there as well, like Planner and bookings and a number of other tools that are available within the Office 365 suite to help you better manage your business and better manage your engagements. And OneDrive, of course, that allows you to have your files always up to date, always securely stored, and always backed up within the secure OneDrive for Business environment. Some of the other things that you'll see is, again, a lot of investment on the security aspects within Office 365. And in fact, Microsoft released about 6 weeks ago or so a tool called the Office 365 Secure Score, which is a solution that will allow you to review your settings for Office 365 on an organization-wide basis, and will make recommendations about some of the things that you should do to help make sure that you have the right security and privacy and enablement controls set up within that Office 365 environment. There are a very broad set of identity and authentication management and security tools and options and features available, including advanced analytics for security, including things like compliance, and for those of you that have records management obligations that you need to meet, there are definitely tools for making sure that you have archival and legal hold and the ability to hang on to those things that need to be kept for a long period of time as part of the Office 365 suite. A few of the key tools within Skype allow you to do a lot of private and multi-point collaboration, whether that's across video or instant messaging, whether that's with your customers, end users, vendors, partner organizations, as well as sharing information readily and easily. That's one of the key benefits that a lot of organizations are particularly excited about with Office 365. And then a rich feature of toolkit within the full suite, and this is just a selection of the key elements as well. And you'll note I've highlighted Microsoft Teams here, something that if you haven't had a look at yet, please do reach out, and we'd be happy to get you some information on that, or you can go check it out at Microsoft.com as well. So that's the summary on the Office 365 suite. And now I want to turn the conversation to talking a little bit about Cloud Platform, which you may know as Microsoft Azure. And really, in this sense, the cloud is about allowing you to extend and augment what you may have in your existing IT infrastructure today. As you grow and as your needs change, the ability to even avoid having to spend money on hardware and software and start to deploy things, net new services in the cloud as well. And you choose from a menu of services that are pre-built, falling into standard infrastructure services like virtualized machines and storage and backup services, all the way up to very evolved IoT applications and data platform services as well that can really be helping you unleash the possibilities of cloud for your enterprise. We see commonly deployed applications as customers start their journey to Microsoft Cloud. Things like virtual machines, some business applications, SQL servers, backup, and disaster recovery as well is something that's very front of mind for many clients. And I've got a little bit more information to share about that with you as part of today's session. Importantly is that really advanced level of security. And not just knowing that the cloud is secure, but also having a wealth of tools to choose from, whether it's advanced firewall capabilities through Microsoft's web application firewall or support for third-party applications like Palo Alto, Cisco, or Checkpoint, for example, security environments within the cloud as well. But lots of focus on that, and security and threat management and monitoring tools that are there for you to take advantage of. This slide is a little bit of a menu, if you will, of some of the things that are available today in Microsoft Azure's platform. You see down the left a whole list of security and management tools that are there, as well as on the right opportunities to integrate with your existing data center or server infrastructure with hybrid solutions, including backup and Azure Site Recovery, which I'll speak about in a minute. But in the middle, all kinds of very, very exciting tools and services that are there to help you develop and deploy and take advantage of net new cloud-based services to support your enterprise needs. Everything from analytics and intelligence management to data services and databases and distributed databases, all the way through really almost any possibility. And this is not only exciting, it's also somewhat challenging to navigate, which is where working with a partner like AirGate will come in, because there are many choices for each particular need, and picking the right one for your requirements is essential. And of course, this menu of services continues to grow on an almost daily basis with new use cases, new features, new versions, and even new applications coming out on a very regular basis. So where do you begin? How do you start your cloud journey, and what are some of the things that we see customers starting with first? And so these four, as far as Microsoft Azure goes, are the ones that we see most commonly adopted first. The first one is taking virtual machines that you may have on-premise and moving them to the cloud, or deploying new virtual machines and storage inside the cloud. Being able to access those on an as-needed basis and have that elasticity and agility has been really exciting for a lot of customers, and has a substantial value benefit as well. Backing up to the cloud, so being able to reduce reliance on expensive infrastructure and co-location facilities and server hardware and software, and being able to take that same paradigm but store that data in the cloud with a lot of versatility in how you take advantage of that, has also been a very key use case for many of our clients. The third one is disaster recovery. If you're an organization of a certain size, you may have invested in secondary sites. You certainly would have invested, in all likelihood, in having standby systems, which come with a cost. And the cloud offers new paradigms for disaster recovery at very inexpensive rates that allow you not only to solve the challenges of making sure that you do have a DR plan that's executable and a service that allows you to recover in the event of a challenge, but allows you to do it in new and different ways, and at, as I mentioned, a very small investment level. And then the fourth one we see a lot of is website hosting. It really is something that's very easy to move and can be done at an awfully good level of cost effectiveness for most customers. So these are the four that we see most often as the starting place for many of our clients. And hopefully they're things that are front of mind for you as well. So data backup. Typically we see a significant capital investment in being able to have backup solutions within a server room or a data center. And the cloud allows you to do that with simple applications and a very cost-effective price point for storage, which is in the 3 cents per gigabit range. So backing up 100 gig of data for really just a handful of dollars. And so there's a number of options to you. You can use existing tools that you may be familiar with, like Veeam or Commvault, and be able to back those up to the cloud. There's also a number of choices that Microsoft provides as well that allow you to simply back up files and data very effectively, avoid capital expense, or reduce continued investment in that capital over time, and then scale up or down as you need it. So backup definitely is one of the front of mind applications and a great place to get started easily. As well, you can do that with your SQL databases. There's a number of choices as well within Azure for not just backing up SQL Server, but how you may extend availability by leveraging the cloud. And so if you have investments in SQL and would like to start to think about how you transform that availability or backup solution, that may be a great place to start as well. And there's some really great choices and that are very easy for you to adopt. Turning to disaster recovery, this is where we see a lot of activity right now with many clients. Whether you have a virtualized environment based on Hyper-V or whether you have a virtualized environment based on VMware, you can take advantage of Microsoft's Azure Site Recovery solution to back those VMs up to the cloud. And it's really not just a backup, it's a full replication by which, in the event of any issues, you could, on a selective basis or on a wholesale basis, recover those VMs either back to your premise, to another premise, or also spin those up straight into the cloud. So in the event of any service interruption that's impacting to your enterprise, you would be able to have a choice of how to recover, and the recovery times can be done extremely quickly as well. So where in the past we may have thought of things on a 24-hour or 48-hour basis for disaster recovery, with ASR or Azure Site Recovery, we're able to contemplate that down to minutes or even just a few hours, depending on the VM and the level of protection that you want to enable. A few of the key benefits are not just simple automated protection, but it also allows you to provide continuous health monitoring. There's an ability to orchestrate that recovery, so you create failover plans within Azure Site Recovery. The replication and recovery is done directly to Microsoft Azure. An average cost per VM is about $19 a month, and just the storage cost on top of that. So it's extremely low-cost solution. Allows you to deploy them very rapidly at scale, can integrate with System Server, SQL Always On, and ExpressRoute, and I'll talk to you about ExpressRoute in a couple of minutes here along the session. As well, and this is totally novel, if you've ever done a disaster recovery planning exercise or had to do test scenarios, Azure Site Recovery allows you to actually do real-time tests of those scenarios and plans without actually having any impact to production. And that's a very exciting and essential feature now, in our view, to help customers that really need to have reliable, trusted, and tested disaster recovery services. Taking it one step farther, AirGate actually offers this as a service as well. So taking all of the benefits of Azure Site Recovery, but then adding the management and monitoring of that and staffing as well to help you in the event of a disaster. So some of those things, if you need to make sure that you have a disaster recovery in place, or you're thinking about reducing the cost of a second site that you may have, or even just extending your current servers or data center into the cloud, ASR may be for you, and we would definitely welcome the opportunity to discuss that a little bit more for you. Another thing that is important with moving to the cloud in an enterprise way is the ability to connect to the cloud securely, privately, and on a dedicated basis. So Microsoft has created a solution called ExpressRoute that's available globally. And what it allows you to do is have a dedicated connection, sort of like if you're driving on the 401 here in Toronto at 9 a.m. and things get a little bit busy, which does happen with VPN connections, as many of you know. And so performance like jitter and latency may not be as optimized as we would like it to be. Having that private connection allows you to have your own private HOV lane, if you will, to the cloud. And so AirGate provides this as a solution to our customers where, just like in your current environment, you may have a dedicated MPLS or fiber link or even an in-building link to your server room. This solution allows you to have that same experience when connecting to services in the cloud. So it provides that level of high-grade enterprise connectivity. It allows you to have an SLA end-to-end. It allows you to provide the quality of experience that you need to the services that are sitting inside the cloud. And another thing that is really, really critical is it allows you to migrate the data much quicker. For instance, last week we were doing a migration of a very large SQL database for a customer that was well in excess of 1 terabit for that particular database, and we were able to actually move that to the cloud in less than 20 minutes using ExpressRoute and cloud connectivity solution from AirGate along with Azure Site Recovery. And that's critical because speed and time and cost efficiency are a big benefit that we're looking for when we're moving to the cloud. So cloud connectivity is something that we believe is very important to enterprises that are starting to adopt meaningful levels of infrastructure and services in the cloud, whether that's virtual machines and storage and disaster recovery, or whether that actually is just advanced productivity workloads like Skype for Business and OneDrive and collaboration services that are available to you in Office 365. Also for Microsoft Dynamics, if you're contemplating using services within the Dynamics 365 environment, ExpressRoute is also very recommended for you. And of course, one of the big benefits is that security by not ever touching the internet by leveraging a solution like this. So a little bit of stuff to consider about how you might connect and migrate and move data to the cloud. Then cloud connectivity or Microsoft ExpressRoute are certainly things that would be valuable to consider for you. So in summary, a few of the things that we've talked about today. Microsoft has a very, very comprehensive suite of cloud productivity and cloud platform services. Whether you're a smaller organization or a large organization or somewhere in between, there is a lot of benefit for you to working with some of the services that are available in Microsoft Cloud. The investments that they've made allow you to have a trust that your data is securely and safely stored and managed and operated in Canada. And if you work with an organization like AirGate to connect to the cloud, you can make sure that your data as well in transit stays within Canada. It's easy to get started with a pay-as-you-go model, so you don't need to make large upfront commitments or long-term commitments or capital investments to start leveraging the benefits of cloud. And of course, the things like productivity, cost optimization, and agility drive a tremendous value for all types of organizations, especially nonprofits. Some things that you could do to start your journey today, certainly reach out to us. We can help work with you on identifying key opportunities for your organization, and we'd be happy to have a dialogue with you at no cost to help you identify what might make sense for you. If you're thinking about disaster recovery or backup solutions, do come talk to us. There are some free trials you can take advantage of that would allow you to start to explore or even deploy quickly some of those types of solutions. If you have hardware and software refresh items on your trajectory, it may be the right time for you to think about moving to cloud. If you're trying to reduce your colocation infrastructure, or you're coming up at the end of a term agreement, or needing to make additional investments, that also may be a good time for you to think about what the possibilities and benefits are for you by leveraging Microsoft Cloud. Or if you're contemplating net new services as well, if you need to deploy a new web service infrastructure, if you need to look at new applications or data sets, if you're going to be doing analytics, these are all things that would be worthwhile exploring for cloud. And if you want to take advantage of some of the teamwork and collaboration and productivity tools with Office 365, including Skype and the new Microsoft Teams, there are things that you may want to get started with. And so please do reach out. We're here to make it easy for you and to help you along your way. So please, please do at your convenience. In addition to some of the things that Joyce was kind enough to share at the beginning of the session today, that there are lots of discounts available to you on the services themselves from Microsoft and others, AirGate would be very pleased to offer some credits for you as well if you want to take advantage of that in terms of cloud services, and a discount on our professional services as well to the TechSoup community. So if you want to get started and there's some things you'd like to learn about, do reach out. We've got some programs and benefits that we would be delighted to extend to you guys. And here's how to get in touch with us. So reach out to sales@airgate.ca or cloud@airgate.ca. Feel free to call me directly or email me directly. My coordinates are here, and I'd be delighted to engage with you personally, however so I may be able to help. And this might be a good time, Joyce, for any questions that the community may have.
Thank you so much, Nicole, and thank you for everyone who has taken their time to learn more about AirGate and Microsoft. Nicole, if you don't mind, could you quickly elaborate? Sorry, I don't know if my audio's coming in and out, so let me just fix my microphone. Could you quickly elaborate on other cloud platforms and solutions and how they compare to Microsoft's offering? So, for example, like Google Apps, Dropbox, or other type of cloud office productivity suites.
Yep, so as many of you are aware, there's a lot of choice out there in the marketplace today. Certainly Google's G Suite toolkit is something that's out there and accessible for you guys. And Google has recently announced plans to open a data center in Canada as well at some point later this year. And so they do have some great solutions as well. You may be familiar with Amazon Web Services. They also have a data center in Canada, so if you're looking at infrastructure services, there's definitely choice. In many cases, Microsoft may be the right approach for you if you have an enterprise agreement today, if you're taking advantage of their nonprofit programs for licenses or cloud consumption. They do have some very, very exciting offers through TechSoup. And as well, if you have an enterprise agreement and have software assurance, you could actually take advantage of what they call hybrid use benefit, which means any licenses you might have for Windows Server, for example, or SQL, you can transfer those to the cloud and thereby reduce your cloud costs. So there's some good programs there to take advantage of. Dropbox is out there as well, and a number of other solutions like that. There's certainly a lot of software as a service solutions for backup and other types of workloads as well that you could take advantage of. From a data storage perspective, there's certainly some great things about OneDrive in not only the amount of data that allows you to store at no cost, but also the security and privacy and identity management features that Microsoft has, really built for business and those needs, including compliance and archiving and some of the other records management aspects that may be important to some of the members that are participating today. So lots of choice, lots of platforms, and they all have some really great benefits for you to take advantage of.
All right, thank you so much, Nicole. Our next question is from Elaine. She has a question around Canadian legislation. Does cloud technology have a similar legislation to protect personal information? So, for example, for email marketing, there's a Canada's anti-spam legislation. Is there anything like that in Canada?
So for cloud services, yes, you can take a look at some of the descriptions on Microsoft.com and Google.com as well. They'll talk to you a little bit about what they do for privacy and compliance reasons and how those protections come together to support not only the regulatory and legal framework, but also the particular needs of customers. Depending on the size of your organization as well and the type of arrangement you may have with those vendors, some of them have specific contract addendums that they will provide as well. So for an example, if you were in a healthcare vertical, that may be, there definitely are some compliance and regulatory and legal aspects to some of the contracts that they provide with their customers. Similarly for financial services and government agencies as well.
Thank you so much, Nicole. So the next question is from Claudia, and I'm paraphrasing. When evaluating other cloud options, does the fact that a company is based in Canada cover the issues with cross-border data? If not, or if so, like what can nonprofits do to investigate further to ensure that their data is compliant with data residency laws?
Okay, so first of all, Microsoft provides an SLA. If your cloud services are within the Canada East and Canada Central regions and you set them up a certain way, that data will stay within those data centers, if you will. With AirGate, with our cloud connectivity solution, we can guarantee that from your particular site to that Microsoft cloud, that none of that will traverse the US border or any other border. It will stay in Canada at all times. And so that is the way to ensure that you're addressing all of the requirements. Data in transit and data at rest or data residency and sovereignty can be addressed by combining the cloud connectivity solution with Microsoft's data centers here in Canada.
Perfect. So our next question, I'm actually going to combine a few questions together. It's about cloud platforms on Macintosh computers. The first part is, could you elaborate on whether Azure, or if you have any experience with Azure on Mac systems? And then the follow-up question is, do you have, off the top of your head, some cloud options that do run very well on Macintosh computers? And it could be things like office productivity or video editing, etc.
Right. Okay. So I'm actually talking to you today from a MacBook Air, and I use Skype for Business and Microsoft Link client there. I use the full suite of Office tools, including Microsoft Outlook, Excel, Word, PowerPoint, OneNote. All of those things are tools that I use. I would say that there is still a little bit of a gap in functionality between the Windows versions and the Mac versions, but this toolkit works exceptionally well and is extremely rich in feature set. As well, if you have a MacBook or a Mac device or even iOS devices like an iPad or your iPhone, you can interact with Microsoft's suite of productivity tools online and with pre-built applications for those devices. So from a productivity suite perspective, works just great. I think the same is true to a larger degree of things like Google's G Suite, although the functionality differs between the two sets of tools fairly broadly. Definitely the Microsoft Suite is much more built for business and rich today from our experience. But no issues with working with Macintosh devices. or iOS devices and interacting with Microsoft Cloud or any other cloud, including Amazon today.
Thanks, Nicole. So the next question is around the Microsoft data centers in Canada. For a lot of the organizations on this webinar today, they are on Office 365, but they're not sure if their data is in one of the data centers. Do you have any advice or recommendations on how they can check and how they can make arrangements to ensure their data is stored in Canada?
Right. So depending on whether you're a new Office 365 deployment or you've been using it for a while, one of the things, if you've been using it for a while, you may have gotten a notification from Microsoft that says you can request to move your, what they call tenant, to the Canadian data centers. So if you were using Microsoft Office 365 prior to May 2016, that would be something that you would have had communication from Microsoft on to make sure that that data gets moved for you, and Microsoft will take care of moving it as part of their relationship with you. If you are brand new to Office 365 since that time, in all likelihood, you would be deployed within the Canadian data centers, and you can actually check either by speaking with your Microsoft technical account managers, or you can have a partner organization like us help you find that information.
Thank you. So a few of our organizations are also using Salesforce as their CRM. Do you know how this integrates with Office 365? And if it does integrate, how would they go about doing that?
So Salesforce and Office 365 coexist. I believe there are a lot of integration features in terms of sending and receiving messages and all kinds of things that can be leveraged between the two platforms. May depend on the applications and services that you have set up in Salesforce.com. If you're using Salesforce.com, you may also want to look at some of the other things that are available to you as well that are integrated and deeply embedded within Microsoft Office. So that almost is an offline dialogue about how to take advantage of those things.
Okay, perfect. Our next question is from Colleen, and I'm going to paraphrase this again. For cloud platforms, including Microsoft and other providers like Google, can you elaborate on the security and safety of, their firewalls, or just how secure is their files and data on a cloud provider? And how do they ensure that it's secure?
Yeah, so that's a really big topic, but let me try and give a little synopsis here. When you're, to use the Microsoft example, and I would think the same is true of many of these providers, but the Microsoft example in particular, we're talking about literally hundreds of data centers globally, so the security investments are massive that they make. And they have extremely significant, world-class, absolutely industry-leading, not only technology, but teams that are constantly at the forefront of innovating around security protections. And there's actually a number of videos and dialogues that you can take a look at. If you go to azure.com, there's a blogs area. And there's a whole topic on security. And in fact, I'll even make it easier for you. If you reach out to me at the end of this call, send me a quick email if you're interested in security, and I'll send you some documents back about how this is all put together. But to give a nutshell view, if I were an enterprise, I would not be able to, first of all, make the level of investments or have the level of resources that Microsoft or Google would have, or even Amazon, to protect your infrastructure. So just by level of sophistication and investment, those providers have a huge leg up on being able to do this yourself. As well, I'd rather, from a security perspective, be a needle in a haystack than trying to go it alone. And by that I mean, you're a very small part of a massive data center. You're less likely to be a target within that needle in a haystack versus trying to manage your own DNS, trying to manage your own firewalls, trying to manage your own web interfaces, et cetera, et cetera. That would be the paradigm that I would be considering if I were an enterprise.
All right, perfect. So we're actually just short on getting close to time, so I'm going to ask one more question, and I'm going to pick one that's a little bit more technical. This question is from Dwight. Do many small organizations use a virtual VPN connection rather than using a device or dedicated VPN?
So to connect to, say, Microsoft Azure, you have 3 ways technically that you can actually connect to it. So one, you can use web services platforms within Azure that allow you to put a firewall in front of them. However, those devices are internet facing because they're cloud services, virtual machines or platforms within Azure. So something to think about there. Should really only be used for websites or web applications in my view. So it leaves you with 2 options really. One is private dedicated secure connectivity like ExpressRoute, which is that mechanism within Microsoft that allows you to directly connect to their data centers in a secure and private way, or IPsec VPN, and there's a few options within there. Most people choose the standard one, and it works just fine if you're a smaller organization, but you do have to still consider making sure that you've sized it correctly and set it up correctly as well to optimize it. But those are your options.
All right, thank you so much. And that's all the time that we have for today's webinar. I want to thank you again, Nicole, for taking us through Microsoft cloud offerings and also how organizations can get started. And for those of you who have asked questions that unfortunately didn't get time to, if you still want someone to follow up with you, please fill in the post-webinar survey. There's an option to indicate that you would like someone to get in touch with you. So please fill that out so that we can do that on the back end. Once again, I want to thank you for taking your hour to join us for today's webinar. The recording and the slides will be made available later today on our website. And in the meantime, I just want to thank you again and wish you the best rest of your day. All right, goodbye for now.
Thank you, everyone.